Hi, my name is Patel, and I'm a psychotherapist and clinical consultant here in Baroda. I have 15 years of experience in the field doing work in therapy, gender violence, and I've worked with adults, children, couples, families, and the community. I have my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have my master's in clinical social work. To work as a psychotherapist, it's important to have a master's degree in psychology as well as licensure in whatever country that you happen to be practicing in. And for what inspired me to come into the field, when I was in high school, I found out that there was a subject called psychology, and it involved studying human behavior, which was very interesting to me, so I chose to pursue it. And in continuing to pursue this field, what I found out is that I was able to find a profession in which I could help people change their behavior, help people change their way of thinking in a way that helped them to move forward in a positive direction. I was able to also expand that to the community and help people in general, which I found very interesting. So oftentimes people have questions about psychology versus psychiatry. Psychology requires a master's or even a doctorate degree, and it's the clinical practice of working with people. In psychiatry, a medical degree is required, either an MBBS or an MD from here or an MD from abroad. A psychiatrist can prescribe psychiatric medication, whereas a therapist cannot. So working in this field allows you to do different types of therapy. You can work with individuals, you can work with couples doing marital counseling, you can do family therapy, and you can also do parent-child therapy. Children's therapy is also something that you use play therapy and other techniques with. For adults, we use things like cognitive behavioral therapy or REBT, and then also there's different types of therapy to use for people who have addiction. So there are 5 really important skills I think that one should have if going into this field. One is being a good listener, really listening instead of just hearing. Second is being empathetic, so not just being able to feel what the other person's feeling, but really understand what they're going through. The third is to not be judgmental. It's very important that you don't judge someone for their experience or their behavior, even if you personally disagree with it. The fourth is to have very clear boundaries, to understand that this is my life and this is their life. If I'm having a problem at home, I should not bring it into work, nor should I be affected if someone has a very difficult experience that I should take it home with me. And the fifth important skill is to be able to provide support and help the person see what their strengths and what their positive traits are. Okay, so in terms of a daily schedule, it really varies depending on the professional setting that you're in. For my private practice, I work with clients by appointment only, so I can have as many or as few appointments as possible. I think it's healthy not to have too many clients in the day because you become saturated and it becomes too much to sort of process. Whereas if you're in another setting, you might have more clients. Overall, I do think it's important to have balance. So beyond work, having some type of self-care that you're involved in, whether it's physical activity, exercise, time with family, hobbies, sleeping well, eating well, because that really helps you, I think, be a better professional in this field. So I would say the 3 main challenges in this field are the stigma of mental health, in that people don't accept that mental health is as important as physical health. People are willing to go see doctors when they don't feel well, but not as ready to get help when they are feeling unwell. The second is the way that mental health is portrayed in media, in movies and shows. Characters are seen as being crazy, acting pagal or insane. They need to be put into a hospital. And that creates a caricature of someone who's going through something very difficult. You know, mental health is a very serious thing, and when people make fun of it or minimize the seriousness, it really detracts people from wanting to seek help. And the third thing is society as a whole. People might want to come for help. People might want to come for therapy, but maybe family members dissuade them. Family members say, "Nay, you know, ghar ke bahar ye baat, you know, don't talk about it outside of the house. Don't talk to strangers about it. What will people say?" There's a lot of concern about the character of somebody who's experiencing a mental health issue. So those are the 3 main challenges in this field. So there are a few ways to survive the challenges that I mentioned before. One is to do your part in creating awareness about the importance of mental health. The more people who understand why it's important and why we need it, the more that people will be willing to use the resource. And secondly, I would say it's time and experience. The more time you have working in the field and the more experience you have, the easier it is to get over these obstacles. So once you have your master's in psychology and you have your license, there are a lot of work opportunities. You can work in a healthcare setting like a hospital, in the psychology department, or in an inpatient mental health hospital. You can work in a school setting working with children, providing counseling for them and testing and assessments. You can be in a government setting. You can work in a large company in their social corporate responsibility department, or you can go into private practice. Private practice is something that one should do after having a certain number of years in experience working, because when you're working in a different setting, you have someone over you, a senior, that is supervising you, that is providing you support and help, and that's very important before you launch into private practice. So when we talk about scope in this field, I think there's a few things. Within India, once you have your master's degree, you can work in the settings mentioned previously. You can also take government exams and take a post in government settings, as well as professorships. You can work in higher education, in colleges, universities, in psychology departments, or in counseling centers, working either with students or with clients directly. And all of this requires licensure, obviously. In working abroad, it's a very similar scope, but because there's more of an acceptance of the mental health profession and its related fields, there are more job opportunities, there are more growth opportunities in terms of mental health. You can be a therapist, you can be in a school setting as well, you can do private practice, you can go into group practice, you can work in community centers, nonprofit organizations. There's a lot broader scope in the sector abroad. So my guru mantra for this field would be, choose this field because you really want to do the work and because you really want to help. Don't choose the field because you want or need therapy for yourself. If that's the case, please get help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, and go into the field for the right reasons, because you can create some type of difference and some type of change.